Today, we're going to dive into a pretty mind-bending new model of the universe. It's an idea that suggests the fundamental pattern of creation isn't some distant cosmic event, but something that's happening all around us, all the time.
What if I told you that the secret to how stars are born, how life itself gets started, even how a thought pops into your head, what if all of that follows the exact same single, elegant pattern? A pattern so common, you probably see it every single day and just don't realize it.
Yep, that's right. You know those bright, shimmery lines of light at the bottom of a coffee cup? Turns out they're way more than just a beautiful little accident. They're a clue. They're a perfect example of something called a caustic, a point where scattered energy gets focused into a clear shape. And according to the dual caustic model, this is how everything, and I mean literally everything, comes into being.
So how in the world does this work? Well, the model is built on a really simple but powerful idea. The universe is defined by two forces that are opposites but totally inseparable. You can think of them as the two fundamental partners in a cosmic dance that creates reality.
On one side, you've got expansion. This is the world of waves, of fields, of just pure wide-open possibility. It's energy spreading out, exploring every single potential path it could take. And on the other side, you've got contraction. This is the world of particles, of boundaries, of making a choice. It's the process that looks at all that possibility and says, okay, this is what's going to happen.
So why do you need both? I mean, why can't we just have one? Well, if you only had expansion, a universe of nothing but possibility, you'd have total chaos, just a formless soup of energy with no structure, no stars, no planets, and definitely no us.
And what if you had the opposite problem? A universe with only contraction, only selection, and no new possibilities being introduced? Well, you'd get a completely rigid, static, and totally lifeless reality. Think of a crystal that can never change, a universe that's just frozen solid.
So here's the kicker. Reality as we know it, this tangible world of stuff and things happening, it can only exist right at the intersection of these two forces. It's in that sweet spot, that dynamic balance between endless possibility and a final selection, that the universe actually comes alive.
And this brings us right back to that coffee cup, that special place where expansion meets contraction, where all those spread out waves suddenly become a distinct shape, has a name, and that name is a caustic. Now, in physics, a caustic is a place where waves, and that could be light waves, sound waves, even probability waves, are focused by some kind of medium. All their energy, which was once diffuse and spread out, suddenly spikes in intensity and gets localized into a very specific pattern or point. And once you know what to look for, you start seeing this process everywhere. It's in the light in your coffee cup, sure, but it's also in the way gravity bends the light from distant stars. It's in the shockwave of a supersonic jet, the tiny photosynthetic center of a plant leaf, and even in the exact moment a quantum particle gets measured and chooses its state. And this is probably the most important thing to grasp. A caustic isn't a thing, it's a process. It's the event horizon of creation. It's the boundary where the formless potential of the universe collapses into the specific forms that we can see and touch and experience. Okay, so if reality emerges at these caustic boundaries, how does the model lay out the actual step-by-step formation of, well, of everything? It turns out it's a pretty straightforward three-stage process. First, you start with a wave field. This is just pure potential. Light, energy, probability, spread out like ripples on a pond. Second, that wave field has to pass through a medium. Now, this could be anything that can bend or shape those waves, like space-time being curved by gravity, or even just a simple glass lens. And third, this is the magic moment. The medium focuses those waves to a point where they intersect. That's the caustic. And that's where energy concentrates and, bam, form emerges. And what does this create? The short answer? Everything. This is the model's explanation for how fundamental particles pop out of quantum fields. It's how simple photons get organized into complex chemistry. It's how raw energy gets focused into a living, breathing organism, and how a whole sea of probabilities collapses into one single definite event. And here's where the model gets truly radical, maybe even a little wild. It claims this isn't just one cool process among many. It claims this is the single scalable process that builds reality at every single level, from the quantum to the cosmic. So from the physics that explains how galaxies form, to the biology of our own metabolism, and even to the way consciousness works, the model says the underlying geometry is exactly the same. You have a wave of possibility that gets focused through some kind of boundary to create a selected reality. Different scales, different materials, but the exact same mechanism. Now, this is where it gets really, really compelling for a lot of people. The model doesn't just explain the big, visible world. It also offers a surprisingly natural explanation for some of the deepest, weirdest puzzles in quantum mechanics, like the bizarre idea of negative probability. So in quantum math, you sometimes get these answers that look like probabilities that are less than zero, which sounds completely impossible, right? But in the dual Caustic model, this isn't a flaw in the math. It's a signature of the wave domain, that realm of pure potential. It represents how possibilities can actually interfere with each other and cancel each other out before a caustic focus selects a real positive outcome. This could be a whole new way of looking at the famous measurement problem in physics. So what does this giant cosmic model have to say about us, about life itself? Well, it offers a really profound new way to think about what it even means to be alive. According to this model, light is basically structured information traveling as a wave. But life is something special. Life is what happens when that light energy becomes stabilized at a caustic focus. It's the universe not just creating a fleeting form, but actually learning how to hold on to that focus, to sustain it over time. This idea completely reframes our entire understanding of biology. We usually think of being alive as a process of consuming energy, of burning fuel to fight against decay. But this model suggests something totally different, that to be alive is to be a master of focus. It's to be a stable pattern that can channel and structure the flow of universal energy without being destroyed by it. And this all leads us to the model's ultimate claim. We don't live in a universe that's made of static, pre-existing objects. We live in a universe of processes, a dynamic reality that is constantly being born and reborn, wherever and whenever waves are focused into form.
So let's just boil it all down one last time. It all comes down to this simple, 3-beat rhythm of creation. A wave passes through a boundary, and that creates a focus. That focus gives rise to form, and a sustained, stable focus, well, that gives rise to life itself.
Which, of course, leaves us with one final, pretty provocative question. If the entire universe, from a star all the way down to a single cell, is a product of focused energy, it kind of makes you ask yourself, what am I focusing on? What reality am I personally choosing to bring into existence, right here and right now?